Well, good afternoon, and a good evening, and a good night all together. Now we yes, verse number 3. Verse number 3, and this is the priceless mind. Speaking, Church Lamsu Kalam Medembe, me Senje Rindan Chamjisep, Gendo Gula Dijin Jumiti, Shizala Vete Jeva Gis. The pressureless mind of love and compassion, innate in human beings, not reliant upon any religious tradition, is the main cause that determines the happiness of all living beings, and I will treasure it greatly. I composed almost every verse's end. I will treasure it greatly. I will constantly maintain this attitude of beneficence. I will therefore discard the malicious mind and so on. Everything is expressed or pointed to me. So that means those who are reading this text need to understand for yourself. Instead of that, you point on me as the author, so that will be misunderstood. The reason why I do this, because it is very important to do everything for your interest, for your own interest, and instead of point out to the others, you have to do that, you have to do this. And this is not really the really meaning of our subject, right? So everybody, each of us, need to understand for yourself. So instead of point out to the others, so therefore I expressed put I. So then I find, of course, my teacher as well, the pressureless mind of love and compassion, innate human beings, not reliant upon any religious tradition, not reliant upon any religious tradition. This is an important word, I think. Look, we need to think, or we need to watch on the development of certain any kind of literature, why and how they're composed, and why and how, what kind of reason that you use this and that words. So this is actually quite important. And frequently I express the large number of I don't want to say all its teachings, but I would say a large number of advices. Those come or this rise or come from Buddhist literature, or I forgot what I'm going to say now. I lost my line. Yeah, that's right. I mentioned because, as I mentioned earlier this morning, the audience are mostly at that time, 100% interest or faith into Buddhism. So therefore, the authors don't need any taking care of the wording. They just go straight forward. But now it's a different matters, different listeners, different audience, different readers. So therefore, it is important to not sort out, but find out among our traditional way of teaching, why and which and how and so on and so forth. So therefore, for example, so-called 10 virtuous deeds, 10 virtuous deeds. This kind of advices become automatically Buddhist doctrine, Buddhist teaching. In fact, except last number, which is wrong view. The past 9 are actually, so to say, international. So that means nothing to do, not strictly connected with, not strictly connected only with Buddhist doctrine, but all sentient beings, all human beings. Sentient beings is a bit too much, but all human beings. Because, for example, killing human or stealing something, so no, and under any circumstances, under any religious beliefs, under any whatever, they are thinking, this is not bad, this can have. Stealing is not bad at all. No one says stuff like that. So every religion, without religious people, those people who doesn't believe any religion, they also would say stealing is not good, lying is not good, killing is not good. So then the 4 kind of 4 deeds which is connected with speech is also same. And mind, there are 3. The first 2 is also same, but last can be interpreted. And the Buddhist, according to Buddhist doctrine, we're talking about that wrong view to karma and whatever. So there's no Buddha, there's no Dhamma, and so on and so forth. But you can little bit change the subject if you have a wrong view. That if you have a view that you're thinking the last 9 points, 9 deeds can be or absolutely acceptable. So this, of course, wrong view. So we also can change a little bit. So that, for me, all 10 deeds is all 10 deeds are nothing based on any religion, but all aspect or all under all situations. So therefore, we need to open our mind. We shouldn't be bound or tight with religious thinking. Just open up. After all, we are talking about that in the spirituality or in certain way of thinking, there's no boundary, different skin colors between the gender, between the believers, and so on and so forth, right? Because of that, so we must feel free, all these things. If you're not understand properly, religion can be burden for us. Religious is not for burden, but to be freed, free from any kind of whatever. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about this. So therefore, the innate human beings, such as love, compassion, kindness, okay, never mind. Compassions based on the subject of, the object of compassion is people, human beings, or sentient beings, those who are suffering. And subject of the object or subject or whatever, for the loving kindness, we need to cherish it to the human beings, sentient beings. So that means there's no room for me to make a distinguish between, as I mentioned right now, gender, nationality, languages, skin color, and so on and so forth. We're also talking about for human beings and sentient beings. There's no boundary. Loving kindness and compassion bring us to open up our mind, to open up our attitude. Because the basic problem of us as human beings, actually sentient beings, but special human beings, is that self-cherishing, concentrate on ourselves, individually ourselves. This makes problems. Of course, we need to concentrate by ourselves, but this is a little bit other aspect of concentration. What I mean is, while I concentrate on me, I just keep distance to others. So that's the main problems. So therefore, we must learn. We must need to get used to it to open up without a boundary. This is actually our daily practice. This is our daily practice. As soon as you wake up in the morning, or we automatically start to think something, what we are going to do today, what we are going to do now. And this is actually more or less harmless. But why we are going to do this and do that, that's the key point. Mostly because of me, I would like to do this to obtain or benefit for myself. Never mind whether it's whether I ignore or the other sentient beings or human beings. The main thing I would like to have this opportunity, and some main purpose, main target is ourselves or myself individually. So therefore, as I written here, the main cause that determines the happiness of all living beings. I will treasure it greatly. Number 4. Panda tsewa chambe sensun ni rang kyang diji juku telana dani desa dema de kunji shenpe sentata jangwa ji. If attitudes of kindness, compassion, and love are source of happiness, even my own, then as everyone wants happiness for themselves, I will constantly maintain this attitude of beneficence. Kindness, compassion, and love. This word love is something need to be correctly understand, because there's at least 2 kinds of loves. Love, which is influenced, or which is totally mixed, or which is turned into the attachment. So most our love is more or less total attachment. This kind of love is not the subject to be generated, to be developed. We don't need to develop that. That we have already enough of that kind of love. Because of this strong love makes us problem. Strong love makes problem because of attachment. Strong hatred makes us problem because of whatever is based on the dislike to other people and make a distinction. And always would like to exclude it. And we don't want to embrace embrace together, not included, but always try to. It's mine and ours, and their and yours. To make such a distance. So this is really the cause of problem, such as suffering. Today, we are living in modern society. And the modern society emphasizes, unfortunately, very strongly on that, very strongly based on ourselves, focus on ourselves. This something related to the way that you are brought up since childhood. Sometimes I give also example. My daughter, when she was during her childhood, about 2 to 3, 4 years old, she has a very good friend from neighbor. They're playing together very nicely, very well, for very long. and her name is Catherine, and she comes to us. She slept also in our daughter's room together, and however, whenever they're playing together, she brings sometimes some toys, and then when she sleep with our daughter, she brings all her beddings. And next time when she goes back, she's very much focused to make a difference. This is your toys. This is my toys, and I don't want to leave my toys here. I want to take my toys with me, my home. This is yours. I don't want to take it. This is the separation. It's very strong. Our daughter also goes to over there to play, to sleep. But when she returns, many her toys are already there, and many beddings or whatever, blanket and so on, everything. Also, she forgot to bring because she's so relaxed, and for her, it's not much different. It's mine and yours. And so everything's together. We are friends. We are playing together. We are living together, more or less. Therefore, no matter. So then she or we need to collect all the things the next time. So this is something very visible, not teaching, but I don't know, what should I say? For me, it was also very clear how one brought up, in which society it comes from society. And the modern society is very strongly push away the right and left, and one need to go furthermore. And every other people can be neglected, never mind. So this is the attitude in modern society. So therefore, it is very, very important to introduce loving kindness in the modern way of life, modern society. Number 5, 차단 유지 란제 신담기 시설 마음에 차베 첼레시 타마라니 폰주에나 네베 삼바 다스 폰지 anger, deceit or deceit, victory, and victory for self, defeat for others, will ultimately lead to self-destruction. Like methods down to flame, with moths down to flame. I will therefore discard the malicious mind. The way of our living is, as I mentioned already, based or strongly connected with attachment and hatred and all other defilements. So because of that, the victory for ourselves, defeat for others, will ultimate lead self-destruction. actually we're trying to win. But because of wrong attitude, because of wrong using method using wrong method. So therefore, at the end, it comes some sort of boomerang wise. I would like to ignore others, and I don't respect others, because that at the end, I'll get problems, all these problems. Of course, from the others. One of his great Kadam masters said, if you would like to have happiness, so you need to start from your side, happiness to others, to give the happiness to others. If you give happiness to the others, you will automatically obtain the happiness. Even you don't want to, you can't refuse it. So that was one of the Kadampas. I don't remember who was the author of that quotation. So that was more basic, general information. What we need in order to practice. Now, in fact, number 6. But before I'm going to do further, I would like to explain the following matters. Actually, whenever I give talks, I emphasize following matter very precisely, I presume, however. Practice Dharma need to understand it properly. I always differentiate main Dharma practice and more or less Dharma practice which is helpful for your Dharma practice. The first Dharma practice is based on your mind, your mental attitude, your behaviors, your way of talking, your way of thinking, the way of you dealing with others. And if you are showing the face, which kind of face you are showing to the others, this can be different, whether you are showing certain face according to Dharma practice or against the Dharma practice. If you are smiling, if you are showing friendly, kindness, and some helpful, even if you are saying hello while you are going for a walk. So it makes big difference. My wife and I myself, we try to go for a walk every day. And then I watched actually constantly the reaction by the others. And sometimes if I say, hello, guten Tag, guten Morgen, guten Abend, according to German language, and many of them, of course, react and give correct reactions, saying back, hello, good Abend, and so on and so forth. But some of them just look and then ignore it. And at that moment, actually, I couldn't feel happy because of his reaction. So that means through his, if I may exaggerate a little bit, through his showing ugly face to me, I got some uncomfortable. I got some uncomfortable. At the same time, he or she accumulates bad deeds. Without knowing, you don't need to know. This is what there was good, there was bad. This is naturally. Even you are seeing, if you look to a dog or cat, even, friendly, they'll be very happy without sound, without saying anything. They're showing friendly face. I used to have 10 dogs. Therefore, I know dogs very well. So then, if I show, if not really smile, but friendly face, they immediately come and they're happy. So if I say, sometimes, of course, they want to play with me in awkward time and unsuitable time. So then, of course, I couldn't react very nicely, although I don't say anything, just look at them without reaction. So then put the tails just down and the head will come down and turn, go away. So at that moment, I accumulated bad deeds, of course. So this is a cause and condition. This has nothing to do with this so-called spirituality and religion or whatever. This is cause and condition. So therefore, it is very, very important to understand what is Dhamma practice and what is not Dhamma practice. And then this is regular. At least we are starting with our Dhamma practice immediately next second after awaking in the morning till I go to sleep. Whole day long, I engaged with some thinking, some processions, and talking and reacting and so on. Without any of this, there's no moment. Every moment, I am engaged some of this. So therefore, if I take care of this conduct, so then I'm collecting good karma, which is also good Dhamma practice. But this is most important. We have seen, as long as you have good spirit, your future, your way and path will be also good. If you are in bad spirit, your future will also accordingly. Everything is dependent or rely on your mind. Another source, another quotation from the sutra: if you accumulate good deeds, you have to accumulate good deeds. You have to avoid accumulating bad deeds. through this way, you need to, the world control is not good, but you need to correct your mind. This is Buddha Dhamma. This is Sutta from Sutta. So Buddha Dhamma is Buddha Dhamma is in us. Buddha Dhamma is at the end the way of our conduct, way of our thinking, and accordingly reactions by the verbal and physical. So that's the main point. So now the so-called secondary Dhamma practice is doing pujas, making offerings, prostrations, sacred emblems, and so on and so forth. All these things, secondary. If someone, those who are doing pujas, puja means doing some ritual prayers with not proper, with proper motivation, they are doing religious conduct. It's quite all right. But most of us, we know by ourselves how we are doing. So if we are doing something religious ritual, without good motivation, but bad motivation, such as jealous, such as whatever, my neighbor make offering 1,000 offerings of light offerings. I must do 2,000. And they give some generous giving to the beggars. So then I need to give even more. The doing is the same from the outside, but the effect is different. Maybe my neighbor doing quite good with good motivation, but I give more, I make more offerings, more whatever, but my motivation is not proper at all. Therefore, instead of accumulating good deeds, but accumulate the bad deeds. So in that case, it is far more better without making offerings through this kind of motivations. Motivations need to be based on the benefit for all sentient beings, but not only verbally, but from bottom of your heart. In order to generate this kind of motivation, we must have understanding of others' sufferings, others' difficulties, others' problems. Without knowing, without consideration about all things, then actually it's become imitation of religious practice. These are not religious practice at all, in fact. So therefore, it is very, very difficult. In early 70s, or even late 60s, I think early 70s, I was in Bodh Gaya which is one of the most, which is actually most holy place of Buddhism in India. And I want to make some 1,000 light offerings with butter lamp. And one of my, one monk from our country, he refused to do that. He said, your mind is, your motivation is very good, but the way of you make offering is not really sufficient, because as soon as you make offerings, then the people who are taking care of all these things come immediately after and collected the oil or butter, whatever. Once they bring back, they are their home for private usage. And your lamp, the lamp offering lasts long, only 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So therefore, it is difficult. So the best way is if you make 1,000 light offerings, electricity, through the electricity, because no one take it away. Can take it away, and once switch on and make a timer for 1 hour or so, so it will remain for 1 hour, and without having bad thought or suspicions or whatever. That was very true. And then also the people who are preparing lights are also doing not very properly, not really clean, and there are so many tricks for their own interest. So therefore, I don't want to talk only bad things to our monastic ritual things and our individual private ritual practice. Of course not. It's good if you do it with good motivation. It's of course fantastic. But not only this, we need to have a main religious practice in your mind, need to be taking place. But for example, I'm watching sometimes in Facebook and some monasteries doing big things, big puja, big ritual. It sounds quite impressed. But if I look more carefully, then I can see there's so many mistakes, and I cannot see their motivation. And maybe that was good. If I can see their motivation, so that will be a bit sad, I think, because I myself is a good example. I'm doing daily practices. Of course, my motivation is not always proper. I don't have a bad motivation, not at all. But I have not good enough. My concentration was not good enough. So through this, doing any kind of meditation cannot achieve good result, I think. So therefore, many of them, or some of them, even just like me, without having good motivation, and then using drums and cymbals and so many music instruments and so on and so forth. For example, I can see quite a number of times practice doing by ordained, both female and male, I mean nuns and monks, as well as lay people, hundreds together and using their drums. It sounds very beautiful, but what kind of the motivation they have? Che means cutting our grasp on ourselves. Egoism, actually, need to be egoism. But if it goes instead of decreasing the egoism, increasing the egoism, it can be. Oh, we're doing marvelous puja. It sounds very nice. The 300 of us doing this jai practice. So then, I don't know. It's a difficult. So now, number 6. It's a general structure of practice. Damju jewe soji kidu ji ribe chen tenla lepapte gombe nyamdo seji tseri ki druche lenga tewa juba ji. I will practice the precious Dharma taught by Buddha. This is not my word. This is a word that we can find many literatures. Buddhism must be taught by the number 1, taught by the Buddha. Number 2, the Panditas in the sense of the moderns, we can say, the modern word. The Buddhist scientists checked thoroughly whether it's correct or not. Wording, meaning, composition, everything need to be checked by the Buddhist scientist, Buddhist philosopher. And after they're approved, Indian Tibetan scholars, then Mahasiddhas, the practitioner, need to be put into practice, just test which way, whether it's give me inner development or not. So they need to meditate according to Panditas approved text. And if they get some positive result, so then they can say, yeah, now everybody can practice this. So however, Buddha himself need to be taught by Buddha himself, and then Panditas or philosophers need to be checked and Mahasiddhas approved. And as number 4, also need to be modern science, approved by the modern science. This is our teachers very strongly emphasize on that because as I mentioned earlier, there are several matters, several points in the Dharma practice which are only related to the audience in ancient time. It's no more up to date. because we have a different attitude, we have different needs, we have a different understanding, we have a different background, religious background, culture background, and so on and so forth. So, therefore, I will practice the precious Dharma taught by the Buddha, examined with reason, ascertained by scholar practitioners, meditate upon to gain insight and experience, and free from any unswing challenge of science, of modern science. Method of Dhamma teaching, Dhamma practice are very much adjusted to the audience. In the ancient time, the people believes according to Hindu culture and the Central Asian culture and some other cultures as well, certain view, certain expectation of, for example, our world, geographically. So because of that, we have Abhisamayalamkara. This is certain philosophical view and philosophical subject. According to this, there's different presentation of the world. This is one side. Other side, and Kala Chakra. Kala Chakra is one of the tantric teaching, one of tantric teaching. And within the Kala Chakra, there are also thorough explanation of the word. The way of explanation in Tantra, Kala Chakra and Abhisamayalamkara are different. So, if you want to follow according to Kala Chakra, you cannot follow the Abhidhamma. If you want to follow Abhidhamma, you cannot accept Kala Chakra. They are different. Because a different audience. So likewise, today, through the modern science, approved the world in the sense of this earth is round. There's no way to accept world Sumeru, the Sumeru mountain, and the 4 continents and the 8 subcontinents and so on and so forth. There's no way, there's no room to accept this because it's approved. So therefore, it is we only need to we don't need to quarrel. We don't need to point out that was wrong and so on and so forth. But it's a different matter, different reason, different need. So according to we are not living in the 8th century or 7th century. So those old explanations, they served their need properly. This is now finished. Now we are living in the 21st century, and we have a clear explanation about our world. So therefore, we only need to focus on the today's presentation. But there's no contradiction, but different need, different reason. So therefore, this absolutely all right. Absolutely all right. So therefore, it is sometimes quite difficult for us while we're doing Buddhist practice. We are reciting mandala, which is included Mount Sumeru and 4 continents and so on and so forth, which is baseless, which are baseless. But however, never mind, if we have to recite this, we don't have to recite, but in case if we have to or if we would like to recite this, just recite it, not without having any motivation behind this word. Or we can make offering all good, whatever existed in the world. This was the main thing. My teacher, Tibethaus Deutschland, while he's driving in the car, he visited 2 or 3 times in Switzerland, and while he goes by the car, he sees so many nice countries, many flowers. He always says, "Oh, I make an offering to the 3 jewels, all these beautiful countries, the beautiful flowers." See, he was saying verbally, because we are allowed, not only allowed, but we also need to make offerings, those which we possessed and that we not possessed, but possessed by the others. We also can make offerings because we are the same subject of this world. Same, we're living in the same global system. So therefore, we also, each of us have our own right to use this round world, round earth. So therefore, we also have a right to make offerings, whatever existed in this world. So that's number 6. So today, I think we can leave here, and then tomorrow we go from the 7 onward. So thank you very much for your participate and listen carefully. Thank you.